Welcome back, everybody. As you may see, my background is different than normal, and that is because I am in Riyadh at the EWC Dota 2 Riyadh Masters. All the best teams in the world are here, and the prize pool being 5 million, people are trying their absolute best. So, we got a 3-week event, and right now we are between week 1 and week 2, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about what we've seen so far in week 1, all of the most successful heroes, and what these pros are doing. Generally speaking, with like the playstyle of the hero, the facets they're choosing, and why this hero is working from all the games that I've watched. So let's go ahead, without further ado, and talk about the most successful heroes so far at the pro level and how you guys can use it in your games. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at the heroes with the most picks this tournament, and we're going to be talking about all the ones with the most successful win rates. Pretty much, they're getting picked a lot, and it's at least above a 50%. And we're going to be talking about why I believe that this is happening. So, Hoodwink. What all of a sudden is so broken about Hoodwink? So if you guys paid attention to my facet video, I thought that the most broken facet was the one that gave her cast range and attack range when she used her scurry. So they're actually taking the other facet, which the reason why that other facet is so broken is that it allows Hoodwink to trade with the enemy support in lane and pretty much win every single lane. So what the facet does is it bounces, the first acorn shot bounces to a random tree and then bounces back to anything around. You now have the ability to reliably hit the same hero with a single acorn shot twice at level 1. This just makes Hoodwink the literal best support trading hero in the entire game, and thus that is why her win rate is so high. A lot of people are going Atos first after mana boots, and they're kind of becoming like a pseudo catch because the Atos sets up for her bushwhack, and then she obviously has the burst damage from her sharpshooter. So next we go to Spearbreaker, who absurdly high win rate. You might have been feeling it in your pubs already. Let's first talk about his innate, which is basically the hero on his team with the lowest level. If there's only one with that level, gets 50% bonus experience. It's just free stuff, and it's absolutely busted if you really think about it, because Spearbreaker is great at picking off people and just changes the way the game gets played. And when you get a single pick off from behind, or even when you're ahead and you're just the lowest level on the team, you're just getting a huge bolster of XP. And Spearbreaker conceptually was already a fine hero, and he just feels really crappy to counter right now. It just feels really annoying to deal with a Shadowblade Spearbreaker, and he's also being picked very prevalently because of the likes of heroes like SF that are getting picked and banned a lot, going in the mid lane because he's a block pick against these heroes that have BKB combos. Spearbreaker's charge now going through BKB by default. That's just what makes him really strong, and people are using the Bull Rush facet, which basically lets you charge somebody or a creep wave and instantly escape. So it's just becoming ever so difficult to catch this guy. The games become chaotic, and he also has a mechanic that bolsters his or his teammates' XP. Next, we see Beastmaster. So Beastmaster right now is only getting played in the offlane, and he's going straight like mana boots, Ags, BKB Blink with the beast mode facet. Honestly, a great time to practice a summons hero, because right now all he's using is a boar, his hawk, or like micros itself. And if you see the damage that these people are doing, they're relying on ancient stacks in the laning stage that use their boar predominantly to stack for themselves, which is very strong. You don't even need to have your support leave the lane. And then they're getting these ridiculously early Ags timings. It speeds up his farm. It makes him do absurd damage. He can actually nearly solo Roche at like minute 12 with an Ags. All he needs is a little bit of help from a teammate to potentially tank. So all these things combined just make Beastmaster, unless he gets absolutely dumpstered in lane, a complete freaking menace who goes mana boots, Ags, BKB, Blink, Refresher. And that's pretty much what we're seeing, because then you just kill somebody instantly with the beast mode facet, because it makes your whirling axis stack so quickly, and people will just die full to zero pretty much. Next, we've got Ember. What was interesting about Ember compared to all the other heroes at the top here is that it was like 60-40, 70-30 in terms of what facet people are taking. So what feels like about Ember is that he has two facets that are both reliable, the Chain Gang if you're looking at elusive heroes, and he also has the Double Sleight of Fist if you're looking at tankier heroes or you're just looking up to bolster your farm. So it seemed like it was about 65-35 in favor of the Double Sleight of Fist facet. But his laning stage seems decent. Heroes like Huskar are largely out of the meta. I'm mentioning heroes that just kind of dumpster Ember in lane. That's always been the main concern for this hero. Monkey King's often getting first round banned in these drafts. So the fact that Ember's not really afraid of too many things just cheesing him out of the game in the laning phase, and heroes like Invoker with Tornado being able to purchase Flame Guard are not very good right now. That's why I think we're seeing a lot of Ember, is just there's not too many heroes in the meta right now that keep him in check. So if people aren't picking the exact meta heroes we're seeing here, then Ember might not be as reliable for you guys. but still knowing that he has 2 viable facets is always going to be good for a hero. Next, I'm going to quickly touch on Snapfire. Snapfire is getting experimented with as a core, mid, or off lane, where they're using the Ricochet facet and they're rushing like Gleipnir into late game damage items. I think it's absolutely absurd and really fun. You pretty much just build a bunch of damage items in a Satanic and you become unkillable. So if you're looking to try something new, I would highly recommend Snapfire. If I had a chance to play pubs right now myself while I was here, I would definitely be experimenting with Snapfire number 1. Next up, we got Darkseer. So Darkseer, even though he's getting banned a shit ton, he's getting pretty much overall first picked whenever he is picked, and he's still rocking above a 50% win rate, which says a lot. For all the reasons we talked about in the last meta update, which is that he buys team items, he has a facet that allows him to not have to search himself. His laning stage is actually pretty strong because he's a universal hero, double dipping in stats. People are just massing strength items in the laning phase. So yeah, Darkseer, just super reliable offlaner right now. If you're like looking to just first pick an offlaner and spam and practice, Darkseer would be my go-to. So we're going to jump down to Gyrocopter, who's surprisingly getting picked as carry most of these games. Gyrocopter carries just kind of come to the meta out of nowhere. A few of them are abusing the drums trick, which is if you use a drum and then you disassemble it and reassemble it, it gives you full charges. But otherwise, they're just going the standard like Falcon Blade, Ags, Daedalus, Satanic, Butterfly, BKB build that we've seen in the past. I would say I wouldn't recommend this hero too much in pubs because he's so much reliant on his team like grouping up around him and hitting a timing. So even though he's seen a lot here, I personally would not put him as a pub hero unless you're in like a 5-stack or a duo stack where you may have a bit more agency in getting your team to group up. Next, we got Phoenix. So Phoenix rocking a 66% win rate. I checked it out. Pretty much all of the winning Phoenixes are taking the Dying Light facet. They're all being played as support, mainly 4, but sometimes 5. So what I'll say about Phoenix is that the Dying Light facet's kind of like same idea as Hoodwink. Is just that Phoenix with Fire Spirits plus the Dying Light, you pretty much win most of the trades except for Hoodwink, pretty much. So it's just another hero that scales with teamfight. Always has, always will. Great team fighter, BKB Piercing Stone on her ultimate, its ultimate. But now the laning stage is giving a facet that allows Phoenix to win the trades in the lane. Pretty much just makes it a very solid pick. It's a hard hero to play. There's a lot of reward, but high risk to learning this hero. But honestly, a great time to do it because the laning stage is a little bit easier now than it usually is in the past and probably will be in the future. Next, we got Tiny, who you're going to see is getting pretty much banned every single game. So I put in my fastest video that the best facet for him was the Insurmountable, but it's actually the Crash Landing. So the Insurmountable's been nerfed a bunch, and people were primarily playing Carry Tiny when that facet was strong. But what people are realizing with the Crash Landing, which not only increases the damage of toss, but also increases the radius dramatically of the landing damage, like the radius of who gets hit by it. Basically, at level 12, you one-shot creep waves with toss. So Tiny has mana issues, always has. So even as he's getting played as 2 and 4, and you just one-shot creep waves with level 4 toss and level 12, super cheap. You can save your avalanche for fights. A lot of mids are going Soul Ring because of this, because the toss is about 150 mana, and supports are just going Mana Boots Blink like always. But now you can kill a wave without casting 2 spells like you did in the past, and now it's only 1. So dramatically saving him mana, and overall just a conceptually broken hero when he's allowed to play his game because he has a relocating spell that's pretty reliable, and he's also super tanky innately. So yeah, Tiny, absolute bonkers mid and support right now, and get on that basically. Next we got Storm. Pretty much the same hero he was before, but more of a specialist hero. If you're a specialist on Storm, you're already kind of like knowing he's good right now. You're already like licking your chops this patch. I know he's been nerfed a bunch, but he's still good. That's what it feels like in all the games I saw Storm. He's more of a later pick in the draft. I wouldn't be learning Storm right now. I think he's to the point where he's only good in the right hands. And you'll probably have a tough time, a little bit of a rough experience picking him up now. So next up, we got Crystal Maiden. Decent support. I think she's kind of like the discount Hoodwink in terms of the 5 position. She pretty much just wins all the trades except for with the Phoenix and the Hoodwink that we've already mentioned. So she's like a A-tier support. Everyone's taking the Frozen Expanse. Everyone that won with Crystal Maiden in the first week of this tournament took the Frozen Expanse. So pretty much standard like utility items, Glimmer Capes, Force Staffs, Drums, potentially BKB for the ultimate. But Crystal Maiden is the same as she's always been. So if I'd say she's like the go-to if you're a core player with role games to pick up right now. So I've got a couple more that I want to mention. First is Ursa. He's getting banned a lot because of heroes like Underlord wanting to get picked in the draft. I feel like he's just super reliable right now. He's got 2 decent facets. Most people are taking the debuff facet. But out of all the burst damage carries, I'd love him in pubs too because he gets Battle Fury. He's doing the standard Ursa stuff. But the innate gives him free damage in lane. And then both of his facets are really nice as the game goes on. So if you're going to go the debuff facet, make sure you consider Orb of Venom in the laning phase, as it definitely is noticeable, that extra second that you get on Orb of Venom. Last but not least, a hero that we're seeing a lot in the ban section, which is Enigma, is that he's being flexed as a 5 and a 3. So that's what makes him so potentially potent in competitive. But honestly, I think he'd be good for both of you in pubs as well. Like, if you're a support player, you're going to get a little bit more farm playing Enigma. You get to pull and then go off into the jungle, kind of setting your carry up to get independent farm under his tower. So make sure you block the big camp and make sure that you kind of tell your carry, like, hey, I'm going to pull, get the lane under your tower, but pick a survivable independent. Don't pick a drow, basically. And if they do, maybe you'll have to play with them a bit more. But that's how Enigma's being played from the 5. And he's buying aura items like Drums, Vlad's, and then eventually a Blink if he needs to. But yeah, really high impact 5. And he's playing a similar way from the off lane, but he's just a core. He gets his items faster. Might go bigger items like Greaves, Pipe type things. But his innate, as well as both of his facets, are just useful. They're just free stuff. And they have their utilities in random portions of the game that really just put him over the edge of broken. And he's only bad in lane as an offlaner against Gyrocopter and Bristle. That's pretty much the only heroes that give him any issue. Heroes like Alchemist can be a little bit annoying if you're not the best at microing your Eidolons, but overall, he wins pretty much every single lane. So, with that being said, that is the conclusion for our meta update for week 1 of Riyadh Masters. I will be on stream analyzing every single day in the coming 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for that. I hope to see you guys there. I look forward to watching some of the best Dota in the world, as this is basically our warm-up for TI. I felt the same hype last year when I did this event as I did at TI, because there's just so much on the line, and you can feel that people are getting nervous. So what I'm basically saying is people are pulling out all the shots, and this is one of the best times of year to really be a meta nerd. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, please, if you haven't already. Love hearing from you guys. I also love seeing you guys hit that subscribe button because, as we all know, the algorithm loves me and loves you and loves us loving each other. Have a good one, guys. See you in the next video.